think men necessarily need happiness.
100%.
I think they need to be fulfilled.
Yeah.
Because if I'm fulfilled, I then almost end up happy.
100%, yeah. I agree, yeah. Like, why being overweight is making you poor. I literally
100%.
was going to talk about
That's a fucking great topic. It's when shit hits the fan, you're like, what do I do in this fucking situation?
Yeah, for sure.
Because it's like the amount of times someone said, like, I've got a big problem, I don't want to do I don't Stripe, fucking Instagram, or employees doing X, Y, Z. I'm like, okay, this is really easy, just do this and this.
Yeah.
Because like any problem anyone's ever seen, I've fucking had it.
You inspired me on the most because obviously you've got a massive fitness business, and knowing that that's the kind of revenue numbers that you can get to, like, that massively broke my belief around it. Like, I don't think I ever really knew what the potential was. Like, I'd obviously been on other masterminds and there was people doing relatively well, but now I'm like, fuck, like this, you know, this is really infinite in terms of where I can get to.
So if you're an online coach looking to scale your business, today we've got Chris Wright, who's completely changed not just his life, but also his brother's life, who's now joined working with him, left the police, moved to Dubai, which we were just talking about before this, and we're going to give an insight in terms of what Chris has done, what he's doing going forwards, and what's led him to being successful. So thank you for your time today, Chris.
Mate, it's an absolute pleasure to be on. I've listened to this podcast and the YouTube videos a lot, so it's good to actually feature on it now and hopefully give a little bit of value too. So yeah, thanks for inviting me.
100%. So let's go into where you are with your business, and how your business has grown a lot since you've worked with us the last few months, or 6 months it might be now.
Yeah.
What do you think has been the biggest catalyst in terms of that change?
I think there's quite a few things. Like, the first thing, I think, like, being part of almost like quite an elite mastermind, it like massively helped me level up. So as soon as I joined, obviously I joined off the back of quite a few mates that are very successful in here as well. So I think instantly, like, just being kind of back into a small fish in a big pond, like, massively kind of gave me that momentum to boost forward. I think it was obviously, like, yourself has always been an inspiration. Like, I've always followed you as well, and I know your business has been very good. So I think, like, obviously you leading from the front as well is massively helped kind of inspire me too. I think a lot of things, like, just things as well, like actually doing more volume, doing more of the basics. I think I got a little bit complacent when I was probably on my own and kind of thought I was doing okay. But again, like, coming on, you know, you kind of drilled into me that, like, you need to do more of this, you need to be doing more of that, like, this person's not performing. And I think that just, like, I can move forward a lot with the business. So yeah, a few things really.
I think it's a lot of the time people get so stuck in the business they can't see the wood for the trees, and you need someone to be like, yeah, that's fucking retarded, or like we were just talking about before this, like, a couple of your members' staff are too soft.
Exactly.
It's when, like, I've worked with a lot, I don't even know how many staff we've had, a lot within, actually not that many, we haven't churned that many people, quite careful with who we hire, but I've worked with a lot of people. We have a team of 47, and I've also worked in a lot of other people's businesses. I know straight away, like, what the problem's going to be, pretty much from, like, the feedback of what you said, bearing behind certain stereotypes of people.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's just, you really broke it down to me. It's like, just, you just need to book calls and close calls, and I think then it's easier to kind of monitor, like, where the problems are. And like we were speaking about and stuff, sometimes it's just like hiring VAs, it's getting staff and stuff that are a little bit hungrier to do the work. And I think, yeah, for when I started, that was definitely something that helped, like, giving me the systems and stuff around hiring and how to build a team. And essentially, yeah, that's what really, I think, pushed things forward, improving volume around, you know, like, messages being sent out, all that kind of stuff. So that was probably one of the biggest things. And I think as well, it was at the time, obviously, when I joined, we'll probably talk about this a little bit more in a podcast later, but where my brother was new to it, like, we wanted, like, a really, really clear strategy of what you would sort of get him to do to help grow the business. So there was a lot as well that we did in regards to kind of the game plan from there too. So yeah, that was good. Like, there's a real, like, good alliance between the both of us of wanting to grow the business together, and pretty much every goal that we set has happened so far, like, in terms of getting him online, getting him out here, and everything like that. So it's been a good journey so far. Just need to keep fucking going.
But that's where, like, confidence breeds success, success breeds confidence. So, like, when you have momentum, you just need to lean into it and keep going.
Yeah.
Because, like, the big thing that then tends to happen, I see a lot of people, they get a bit complacent. They start making 30, 40K a month. They start to take the foot off the gas a bit.
Yeah.
And then they slide back down to, like, 20K because they're not doing what got them to 30, 40.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's what, for me, like, you've really, like, drilled into me to, like, never just be, like, steady. It's like, that's why, like, now if things aren't performing, which they don't, like, they're not always amazing. Like, things aren't always just moving forward. But now I'm, like, always, like, trying to figure out, like, what the fuck is going wrong? Like, why are we not booking in calls? What are we not improving on? And, like, then I'll instantly kind of fix the problem. Whereas I think previously, you know, I've been maybe stuck around like 10, 20K or whatever, and I've just sort of been, you know, I'm doing okay. But I think now it's like more responsibilities. I've obviously got my brother. It's like, it's not just about me anymore. So I'm very much in a position now as to where, like, I'm not ever going to settle at just, you know, where I'm at, sort of thing. It's always about trying to move forward. And I get there's going to be highs and lows, but it is about, for me, constant growth and moving forward.
And with everything, you can have highs and lows. And I think an important thing for anyone listening, like the bigger your business gets, the highs are higher and the lows are lower.
Yeah.
And like the contrast gets fucking bigger, and you have to change as a person to be able to handle those things. And you've probably found that already throughout your career of like, when you first started online to where you are now, the problems you have now would have probably folded you back then.
100%, yeah. And I think for me now, it's not, I am still coaching a little bit, but I'm obviously not really like a coach anymore. Like I realize I have kind of moved into being more of a business owner now. So it is about looking at like staff and like KPIs, all that kind of stuff. Whereas before it was just a kind of like, you know, doing your check-ins and stuff like that. And I still love coaching, but like you say, now the business has grown, like there are more problems and stuff that identify themselves. And I think that's where I'm always like trying to stay like grounded to try and deal with them as much as possible.
And I think when you've got your ear to the ground, you can then identify what the problem is and then to fix. Because like, something called like theory of constraints is there's going to be one thing in your business that's stopping it growing. And I think most people spend their time trying to fix the wrong problem, or they're just doing something because they think you should do it. And like one of the best things you should always think about when you're going to do a task is like, what problem does this solve?
Yeah. Because
like people do stupid fucking shit all the time. I'm like, okay, that's cool, but like, what problem does this solve?
Yeah. Well, I remember like when we spoke, like I can't remember how many calls you did before I joined.
Like it was a lot, 3, 4. You might have the record.
But like, I think one of the things I said to you was like, I'm not quite ready to join yet because I need to like look at my website. And like, when I think how like retarded that is now, like nobody even gives a shit about your website. So I think it's stuff like that, like having like that real focus of like, look, this is that's actually important, like not getting too sidetracked with, you know, creating like fancy things that aren't really going to move the needle forward.
And I think what you said that's interesting, 'cause it just also made me think of a lot of stuff that we're doing. There's always so many things that you want to get done, and not everything needs to get done sometimes.
Yeah.
Because you suddenly realise that the most important things will get done, and that's the things that, like you said, are going to book calls, close calls.
That's it, yeah. Yeah.
Like front-end marketing brings in money and fulfillment. Outside of that, like fancy websites and other stuff, is it going to 10x your business? No.
Yeah, exactly. And I just try and like not even look into that shit anymore. Like I used to spend time on Canva or like, you know, editing shit, and like now it's just like I don't want to be doing that kind of stuff. So it's about like, obviously, like you say, like finding the stuff that's important and doing more of that.
Do you enjoy your business now more where you are now than 6 months ago? When
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, massively. It's nice now to have. There's still stuff that I know that I need to kind of like gradually outsource, but I think now, like, yeah, 100%. Like I've got a lot more time. I felt like before I was just constantly doing check-ins and getting back to messages all the time. And like, whilst I love coaching, like there's kind of like a point in diminishing returns where you're just fucking doing too much and then you're not actually enjoying what you got in the industry for. So yeah, for me now, like I'm working with enough clients that I'm happy. Like I still am getting great results. I can kind of pick and choose a little bit with certain clients if I want to work with. But yeah, for now I've got more time to enjoy myself. And I just prefer like the growing a business, the strategy and all that, rather than being stuck in the weeds and stuff and just solely coaching. And I think this is what I always try and explain to people as well. Sometimes if I'm speaking to like a new client, and it doesn't happen as much now, but like what I used to see happen is that they want to work with me as like the business owner, and essentially if I can explain to them now, actually they'll get a way better service because they'll be working with one of my coaches and their entire job is to literally coach and get you a fucking amazing result, whereas I'm literally going to be doing everything. Then they kind of realize, okay, actually that does make sense. So yeah, I've in a position now where I actually can enjoy myself, and there's still some stuff that I don't enjoy, but like it's a lot more enjoyable than it used to be, where I was pretty much just stuck in the rat race of like, you know, signing up clients, setting them up, doing their walkthrough, doing their kickstart, doing all this, and like you just never really have time to grow the business. I think that's what gets a lot of people, a lot of coaches stuck at like 10k a month or something like that. 'Cause you can still manage, you can still do that at 10k a month, right? You can still work with say like 50, 60 clients, but it's breaking past that, which is the hardest thing. And that's the biggest thing that I got out of the mastermind. Because I think I was probably a little bit beyond that, to be fair, but still like, I wasn't like massively ahead as to maybe where I am now, growing a team and like having a little bit more responsibility. So
I think what you said there is very interesting, because I think what happens is people, and if this relates to anyone listening to this, that they create prisons for themselves in terms of their hamster loop is they film content, they then do loads of check-ins, and then they've got sales calls, and that's like all they do every single day, and that's their life then.
I remember you said that like about the golden handcuffs and like just being stuck doing that, Whereas I feel like now I've definitely been able to kind of come away from things and stuff and just have more freedom. Like it's nice to like, you know, have them out here as well, where we can just enjoy doing, you know, nice things. They've been out for a couple of weeks, but there'll probably be a lot more of that to come in terms of like where we can take a step away and then actually end up like performing a lot better anyway. Like I feel like, you know, having a bit of downtime and enjoying yourself is important to actually be able to have the energy to keep growing the business too. So striking a balance.
I think the way I look at a lot of things in life, like activity-wise things you do, is like things like either make you money, like plus or minus. And I think obviously working makes you money, but then also I think downtime and actually recharging makes you money because it gives you more energy to think more clearly.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it's a really important thing and not enough people think about.
Yeah, I think so. And I think now, like, it's sometimes, it's kind of a good thing, but like sometimes I will be like planning my day the night before and like thinking, okay, what do I need to do? And sometimes I'm a little bit stuck. I'm like, actually, what do I need to do? Like, I haven't got this to do tomorrow. I haven't got this to do tomorrow. And it's sometimes then it's kind of a good thing because you've got more freedom, but then it's just about making use of your time. And that's one thing I'm trying to do now is like, I'm actually trying to almost just learn a lot more. So that I actually start listening to podcasts, which I was doing before, but more so that more reading books, like just generally trying to like level up my knowledge a lot more because I've got the time to do that. And I think that's how I'm going to keep progressing to the next level, like finding out what I need to do rather than like being stuck kind of in the business all the time doing that.
And it's also the greater your skill set is, the more money you'll make.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and there's so much that I know that I still don't know. So like that's why I'm constantly trying to improve on like, you know, marketing, sales, all that kind of stuff, which is just it's infinite really. Like it's just never something you complete.
I think it never stops. I think this is why I think business is more fun than fitness to some respects because once you know how to get shredded, build muscle, there isn't almost that much more to it.
And nothing changes. Like it's been the same for the last 1,000 years. Like it's fucking carry deficit's the same.
It's like there's only so much you can really say about that. But when you come into like technology, business, AI, building teams, managing people, like there's so many moving parts and it's so dynamic that there's always new things that come into play, which I think it makes it interesting.
It does, yeah. And that's why it's so valuable being part of obviously mastermind in this, because you don't miss out on the new stuff. Like you know, if something's working in your business, then obviously you're going to be able to pass that on to us. So that's something that's definitely helped a lot as well. There's been just a few little hacks and stuff that I've picked up, like story hacks, like waiting for your story to expire and then putting something up that's going to be like really engaging. Just a few things like that that's definitely helped again, like get more clients in or just to create more engagement and stuff like that too. So I'm all about the hacks.
100%. And it's that's why I'm actually a really lazy person. So I want the most efficient point from A to B.
Yeah.
Whereas I think a lot of people take the hard path and I see them making their life more difficult for themselves than it needs to be. Whereas like reality of what we're doing is not that complicated. In particular, if you're in the position, like I said before the call, like you're a guy who's in really good shape, that like you're the attractive character of the business people want to look like.
Yeah.
It's fairly fucking easy at that point because it's like, dude clearly knows what he's doing. He's in really good shape. So therefore I should probably listen to him.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I think like personal brand is so important. That's what I'm really trying to build now. Like I have got a YouTube channel. It's growing fairly well, but I want to.
What's your YouTube channel if anyone wants to check it out?
Just Chris, right? I don't think it's got like an actual name. Okay. But yeah, no, I'm putting like a lot of like very educational content out there. So like, more kind of similar to this, but I do want to start like vlogging a lot more. And I've noticed some of your videos and stuff you're doing like day in life and that kind of shit, which I think is really good. Like I want to grow it as much as possible. Like, cause I think a lot of people are interested in that. And like you said, like if they see that, you're in good shape and you practice what you preach, like, even like recently I've just started like another dieting phase. I don't need to get massively leaner, but for me, it's just something to kind of like focus on. But like lots of clients have been really interested. Like I always send out a podcast to our clients each week and I always get like a lot of questions. Oh, that's really cool that you're doing that. This is quite interesting. So I think that's why it's important to like document what you're doing and essentially, like practice what you preach and just sort of show that this is what I'm doing. This is what's working for me. Kind of what you do. Like it's fucking the same thing, but like that's important.
Yeah. I think it's full transparency then, because it's like, I'm always trying to document my life or what I do, so then if anyone doesn't think it's real, then it's like, just fucking watch a YouTube channel and see what I do every day. Like
exactly.
Like it's literally me in my house, in my office, this is what I'm doing, just explaining stuff.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. It's quite easy stuff to do as well. I quite enjoy it as well. Like, I quite like it's one thing in the business, like creating content and showing a bit about my life. I like doing it. I know the same as Matt as well. Like we've already said, like, let's really start like showing what we're doing as, brothers living together. Like let's document our cut, let's document our travel. Like let's just show people, like, because him being a coach in the business, like people want to see that sort of stuff as well. So we are trying to develop a bit more of a personal brand. So hopefully, there'll be some good stuff coming to the YouTube channel. We'll see.
But I also think that's probably one of the reasons why you're doing so well, because you do it for the right reasons, because you enjoy the process, not just the end result.
Yeah, exactly.
It's true to your values then, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, like I always want to be doing stuff that I enjoy and stuff. I'd love to build a massive following on YouTube. Like that would be the goal. But I know if I just keep putting out good content and enjoying it, then that will probably happen anyway. And hopefully at some point maybe I will be able to monetize it. But for me, it's more so at the moment, just kind of, I know, like nurturing people with longer form value as well. Like I think, I can't remember where I read it, but is it like 7 to 8 hours? Someone needs to see maybe it was one of your podcasts.
Yeah, it was. See, it works.
Yeah, exactly. So like 100%, like I think people need to absorb your content for long enough. So just providing free value and then, you know, putting a few CTAs in there, it's potentially going to lead to something one day.
I think, so if you look at like modern society in 2024, like skepticism of people is like an all-time high in terms of like people's bullshit radars, which is why I think even more now there needs to be more transparency in terms of who you are, what you do and why. And as much as Instagram's great, it's very difficult to really show the inside of your life on that.
Yeah.
One thing I'm starting to do, I think I showed it on the call the other day, was we have a framework of like 14 different style of like almost like questions you can ask yourself and then answer. But then doing it in stories to basically tell your attractive character framework. And you do it in like a loop. So then like people's like, I did something yesterday talking about, I don't know how I used to be a failed estate agent, XYZ. Loads of people fucking liked it and messaged me on it. And it's like, it's interesting because I feel like I say the same thing over and over again, but new people will come to you who don't necessarily know the full picture, or like they'll see you now at chapter 12, but they don't know what chapter 1 looks
100%,
like.
Yeah. It's like the hero journey, isn't it? It's like, it is talking about what you've done. I think I read it in Alex Hormozzi's but yesterday, but he said like, instead of saying like, this is how you do this, like say like, this is how I did this, this is how I built a 7-figure business, or like, this is how I got in great shape, instead of like, this is how you get a 6-pack. So I think, like sharing experiences of what you've done and how you made mistakes maybe before, and then like portraying that in your content is what's important. It's like something I'm trying to do a lot more of.
I think vulnerability is the best thing you can do. And if you show how you've really fucked up something before and then how you overcome, well, I've done loads of stupid shit.
Same.
Like it's, it then gives a lot of context to people, like he is human, he makes mistakes, and he's had bad shit happen to him, and this is how we overcame it.
100%. Yeah, I agree. Like I've put stuff out there, like I used to fucking do like 100 sit-ups every night thinking that would get me a 6-pack, and like I genuinely used to do that, and then people find that quite funny. And then like I think I put one out before saying like I used to think that like to get jacked I just put like a teaspoon of protein powder. I used to nick my brother's protein powder like when I couldn't afford to buy it myself. I'd have a teaspoon, put it in a cup and be like, that's like protein powder, right? It's gonna get me jacked. And I think I've actually said that in some of my content sometimes, and it's just funny, like it's actually like relatable. That's quite interesting. You can like tell a story off that. So yeah, I think that's what's important. Like you got to try and like create a bit of humor as well and stand out.
It just reminded me of something really retarded. I think I was talking about before. I remember being like 15 and buying protein powder and hiding it under my bed.
I think it's got something bad there.
Yeah, because like, my mom's gonna tell me off. But I think it's like weird shit like that. You tell people remember and think it's funny.
Yeah,
because it humanizes you as well, right?
Exactly.
And the more you're open with that, I think the better. And I think that's also the value of long form. For anyone who's watching this as a coach, it's particularly when you're in the position you are now, your business semi-runs itself to a lot of degrees. You have the ability to spend a couple of hours a week making longer form videos.
100%,
because this then gives you the next form of leverage where like we're recording a podcast now, people are listening to the other podcast right now while we're recording it. So that's giving me leverage.
Exactly.
Like multiplying myself.
Well, like my most like viewed video on YouTube, which is like the second video that I did, and I didn't even think it would do well. But it was literally just like an apartment tour of me moving to Dubai. It was literally just me showing my apartment, like this is where I live, like a bit of I can't remember what some of these programs were. This is my crib sort of thing. But like I didn't expect it to do well, and it ended up getting I think it's got like 20,000 views or something. Not crazy, but it definitely is like one of my most viewed videos. But I still get people now that like message me like, oh yeah, I saw your video in Dubai, like, and they'll like ask me something. Like I had a guy on LinkedIn that followed me like about it as well. He was like, oh yeah, I saw your video, and then he's asking me about coaching. I'm like, that's just a video that I didn't even fucking think would do well, and that's 6 months ago or whatever, like when I posted it, it's still getting me traffic now and getting me subscribers and stuff. So yeah, that's why I think YouTube is such a powerful platform, because you can, like it's always going to be there. It doesn't go.
Well, and it's also Instagram, you can make a reel today, it goes up today, it does well for 40 hours, and it's done. It's done,
yeah, exactly. I just find, I do like Instagram, but I just find as well, like I actually do prefer longer form. Like, this for me is like, I enjoy it, like it just flows, whereas like with my reels, like I have to script them all now, because otherwise I just chat shit for like too long, and I'm like, 60 seconds too long, it's not going to do well. So now I literally like obviously script them properly so that they are like nice and concise, because that's what's going to be more likely to go viral. So yeah, I think the longer form platforms, podcasts and stuff are good.
For anyone listening to this, what type of content has worked best for you?
It definitely, it's going to be like training and nutrition. Like the content at TK like typically, like obviously we're saying an outdoor gym, obviously in Dubai. That normally does pretty well. Like I definitely tested this because I used to do like maybe more mindset style content. I used to talk about like, I don't know, like the all or nothing approach or just stuff like that. It's actually really relevant and actually is quite helpful. But it used to just hang, like likes were a bit shit, like it never used to really get much engagement. Whereas like me just showing like this is how you do a bicep curl or like this chest exercise is shit, like that seems to work really well. So I think just like quite useful like tips that people can take does a lot better. Rather than like going into the kind of more like technical mindset style stuff that just people just don't really, you want to give them something that they can just go away in action, like, and they're like, oh, actually, yeah, that's quite a good idea. So like stuff like that's worked really well. All stuff where you're obviously giving things away as well. So one of my best, my most viewed videos, which again I wasn't expecting to do really well, but that literally just said, oh, this is the best training split for a guy to do. And I've seen like so many coaches copy it now. So many coaches have like done this same thing because they've seen mine do really well. And then she just gave away like a 4-day training split at the end of it. And it's got like thousands. I think it's only got 1 million views now. I did put some paid on it, but that like just literally just giving away a 4-day training split and saying this is what I would do if I was a guy looking to get in shape. It's got like 5,000 comments. So like that's really helped grow the page, but also just give my VAs tons of people to message and stuff as well. So.
And I think that's where a lot of people overcomplicate the process with some of this stuff.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't understand as well, like there's the how to do something, but it's also the who is involved in it. Like you have to become the person like yourself who can then, people are going to listen to.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas if you're like, no disrespect to anyone, but you're like 70 kilos or you're out of shape, like no one's going to fucking take advice. And it's like, you're not going to take financial advice from someone who's broke.
Yeah.
Like people can see through the bullshit.
Yeah, for sure. It's interesting. I still get abuse on my posts. It's fucking funny though.
Yeah.
Like, I had like a guy that commented on YouTube, like both 2 accounts, no like profile picture, like some weird username. And it was, oh, you've got no triceps. And then like there was one guy that was like, oh, you've got no chest or something. This is actually my good side as well, which I'd like to think I've got a relatively decent chest. And like just shit like that, and like you just get loads of like little like fuck boys or whatever, like try and comment on your posts. But yeah, stuff like that's interesting. But 100%. I think like being in good shape is really important, and otherwise no one is going to listen to you and stuff like that. And I think coaches these days, there's definitely certain ones that could probably level up a little bit in certain areas. Me and my brother spoke about a little bit yesterday.
Why do you think some coaches don't take that seriously?
I don't really know. Like that still baffles me. Like I've coached coaches before that like I thought, oh, they're gonna be fucking awesome clients, like they're a coach surely, and like, they've been shit. And I'm like, how is it
not adhering to stuff?
Yeah, they still don't adhere to stuff. I'm like, how are you how are you like giving advice to your clients and you can't even do it yourself? So I'm not really sure. I don't know if it's like laziness, like naivety. I don't really know why. Like, I'm not saying every coach should be 6-pack shredded. Like, I think that you should be in like good shape in terms of the type of clients you're coaching. So I don't think you need to be shredded if you're coaching guys that maybe just want to lose a little bit of weight. But I think it is important. It definitely gets missed now. Like people look at like the really fancy stuff. It's like if you just get in good shape, like and get jacked, you'll get more clients. 100%.
You also just stand out straight away.
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
And it's like people just get drawn to you from that point of view. And even in an in-person situation, if you go to business events and stuff like that, and people see you're a bigger guy and you're in really good shape, they automatically have respect for you because like, dude's clearly got discipline. He's clearly like consistent. Like he has a lot of respect for himself.
100%. Yeah. I was going to do a video yesterday. I ran out of time because me and my brother's podcast was so long in the end, but I was going to do a video. Literally, it was like why being overweight is making you poor. I literally
100%.
was going to talk about.
That's a fucking great topic.
Yeah, all these different. I wasn't like trying. I wouldn't want to trigger people. I will do that video soon. But I just wanted to like, express to people like you said there, the confidence, like how you almost like don't believe in yourself. Like you say, like other people aren't going to trust you if you can't look after yourself. How can you look after like whatever it is they're trying to look after? So I think it's so important, and this is what I always try and explain to people when I'm talking to them on like consultations and stuff. Like it's not just about like like you feeling good or whatever, like having a 6-pack. It genuinely is about you actually progressing in life. Like you'll make more money, you'll like family will respect you more. Like especially as guys, like fucking guys now at modern man, like they should be in good shape. You should be able to provide, protect, and just fucking like lazy men with beer bellies and stuff, like just fucking sat at home. It's just like it's so off where we should be.
And I think a framework I think about a lot, and I've spoken about before, is like no one gives a shit if you've got a $2 million house, but you're a 2-cent body. Like you're a fat dude now. Wait, I don't give a shit how much money you have. I have no respect.
100%. Yeah, same.
Like, I don't care.
I instantly will just, I don't even really care. Yeah, like I think that is the most important thing. And like if you've got foreign business, like you should be in good shape. Like the skills are almost the same, right? In terms of like discipline, delayed gratification, it's all similar stuff. So there's no excuse. And anyone who's good in business as well should have time. Like, you know, they're going to be able to leverage their time. So when people are like, oh, well, you know, I haven't got the time to do it. It's like, well, you should have time to do it. You're not prioritizing it.
It's what, like 45 minutes a day, maybe?
Exactly, yeah. Like some of our best client results have been from guys that have trained like 3 times a week for an hour, and they've not even done any cardio. They've just done steps, and like, it's not like nutrition takes much time to get right. So yeah, it is just excuses. But I mean, in terms of coaches, like that, I don't even know where to start with that one. Like, I don't know why a coach wouldn't be in shape. It's just, I think it's just like completely wrong.
Well, it's just fucking retarded. And
Yeah.
if you're a coach listening to this and your business isn't doing well and you're not in good shape, then that would be the first thing I'd look to do.
Yeah.
The one caveat I would say with that is that no one gives a shit if you win Mr. Essex or whatever bodybuilding show.
Oh God, yeah.
But
that one, yeah.
But like,
that's another thing.
You need to be like, does dude like look fit, healthy? Does he look like he should be a trainer?
Yeah.
Like that's a good start, right?
Exactly. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think with the bodybuilding thing as well. I mean, that's like the other end of the spectrum, but that I think is a bit of a problem. Like, I think people essentially think that like because they compete or whatever, like they're going to be a better coach, or they
the world owes them something.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I've competed once. I know you've done it a few times, but like it just wasn't for me. Like I didn't enjoy it. Luckily at the time I was personal training face to face. I wasn't really didn't have much of a business. So it didn't really matter. But there was like that level of lifestyle it completely stopped me from even wanting to grow my business. So I think like, I'm not going to slag it off too much. I think that if you want to try it, definitely, but it's not going to make you money. Like, unless you are like Chris Bumstead, you're not going to be successful off competing. Like, so many people like give their whole life to it, and if they enjoy it, I guess it's different, but it's definitely not going to grow your business. And I thought that was my intention, was like, oh, if I like become, I think I did like fucking shit federations, like Pure Elite and stuff.
Yeah. I did my own pro the first one.
Yeah. I was like, if I become a Pure Elite pro, like I'll get loads of clients. And I was like, I can put it in my bio. And I think about now, I'm like, fuck me, that's so cringe. So yeah, like it's a bit of a waste of time.
And I think what people don't understand is that like the amount of IFBB pros I know have no money is like fucking nearly all of them.
I'm not surprised. Yeah.
Because it's so disruptive to your lifestyle. I've competed 4 or 5 times, and I would recommend anyone listening to this, if you're thinking about doing it, you've never done it before, do it.
Yeah, that's the same as me. Yeah,
you will learn so much about yourself from it.
Yeah, for sure.
And they can't like. You will never put yourself out there more than when you stand on your pants in front of people you don't know on the stage.
I agree, yeah.
Like, you're never fucking scared of anything.
Yeah, 100%, yeah.
Because it's like, you can't really be much more vulnerable than that, right?
Like, exactly, yeah. I think, doing it once or you know, maybe a handful of times or whatever, and just getting the experience is definitely a good thing to do, especially as a coach as well. Like, I learned a lot from competing, because it's something that I can actually reflect back on now. Like, because for me afterwards, like, I did go through quite a difficult period. Like, the classic, like, gain loads of weight, binge on
straight after
shitty
the show.
food. Yeah. I was fucked. Yeah, I was like, I was in a pretty bad way. But for me now, like, that's actually like something I've been able to reflect back on loads of times. Like, I've done like reels, I've done videos and stuff. I've talked about my experience and like how I suffered with binge eating and stuff. Not like really badly, but it's something that I can talk about now. So it is like a good journey to go through for a coach. I think that like doing it maybe once or twice is good, but I just think unless you are genuinely going to make it super far, which is just fucking unlikely, and you can't even, there's parts of competing as well that you don't control. Like, even if you are the most dedicated person, like if you've got shit genetics or not like 0.1%, you're not gonna get there. Like, it's no point.
You would know already if
you would know. You would know when you were like in your teens, probably,
you know, at 16, 17.
Yeah. So otherwise you're just putting your life towards like nothing really. So I personally just wouldn't think it's worthwhile.
One of the most interesting things, I think, with what you've done obviously recently is your brother coming over to Dubai, and like, how do you feel that's changed his life? Obviously, going from working for the police in the UK, now he moves to Dubai. He's now like running the business with you coaching.
Yeah. Oh, it's like 10x his life on every single level, 100%. I mean, obviously his income's improved a lot, which I know he's really happy with, but it's not even just that, it's just his general happiness. Like, I obviously only been here for 2 weeks, but he's told me that I'm really happy. This is genuinely like happiest I've been and stuff like that. And I think as well, just like, you know, like having the ability now where he can almost put in the work and see the result, like what growing a business is like. I think that's really helped him too. Whereas like in the police and typically in loads of jobs, like you do loads of work, you don't really get rewarded for it. Like I know with Matt, like he used to go above and beyond with his job, and he used to, you know, like get himself in quite a lot of shit situations. Like I remember he like got his head like, cut open, or like something happened. But like I think there's just a lot of the time as to where you're doing something and you're not really, you know, you're not really seeing much reward. Whereas like now, if Matt works hard, if he, you know, if he gets clients more transformations, if he gets more referrals, like he's constantly going to be growing his income too. So yeah, that's one thing, but the happiness is the biggest thing.
How does that make you feel?
Yeah, really good. Like that's massive. Like I feel like it's made, obviously, that I know my family is proud as well. Like I know my mum and dad are proud, and I know they were a little bit skeptical. Like, I mean, my dad was probably more open to it. I think he had a lot of self-belief with us. Like my dad's quite entrepreneurial anyway, so like he saw obviously the success that I had, and then he kind of knew that like it would work out. I think he could see it happening. My mum is not as entrepreneurial. She's maybe a bit like stuck in the matrix. Like she's
old school.
Yeah, a little bit old school is probably the right way of putting it. Yeah, like traditional, go to university, all this kind of stuff. So I think she was a little bit like, oh, will it work? But then Matt took the leap, like October time, which is actually when I think it was like a month or two in from the mastermind. Yeah. And then we just literally like gone all in with it since then, and he's got more clients than I have now. So he's like really happy and stuff, and he's got a job that's given him a lot of fulfillment. So it's been awesome, yeah.
And I think that's also where people need to understand that like you being successful is not just changing your life, it's changed his life, and then like the knock-on consequences of that for the next like 10 years is insane.
Exactly, yeah, 100%. Like you change like the trajectory of everyone. Like, you know, like the family, like the family tree completely changes. So that's why for me it's been so good. Like I was, obviously my income has changed like since joining as well, but I still, you know, like my lifestyle didn't change maybe as much as Matt's has. Like whereas for Matt, like his completely changed, and that for me is like probably what's like been the biggest impacts and stuff in terms of like making him and myself very happy. So yeah, it's been good.
What motivates you now?
I think it's like fear of failure is definitely one thing. Like still, I think it comes a lot down to I think my family. Like I still feel like I've got something to prove to them. I still feel like there's like another level to go to with that. It's something I had to reflect on recently, because I remember when I think it was at the mastermind, like Chris did a talk and he was like, why are you doing what you're doing? And it made me think. I was like, actually, like I haven't really thought about this enough. So yeah, I think for me now it's about it is about like, again, like really like being a role model for my family, like really making sure that, you know, myself and Matt are financially in a really good place. So that really motivates me, and just generally just reaching full potential. Like I would hate to like get to the end of my life and feel like I've not done everything that I could do. And I definitely don't want to go back as well. Like I like my life now, and I want to just keep moving forward with things and stuff.
It's interesting you say that, because I often think if the biggest thing that motivates me is never going back to work in the shitty fucking estate agents in the fucking four walls again.
Yeah.
Having to answer to someone else, because once you've like seen behind the curtain of how the world really works when you're not in that fucking 9 to 5 bullshit, you're like, yeah, I'm not going back. Yeah,
100%. Yeah, same. I think, I mean, my first job was personal trainer, but I definitely didn't enjoy it. Like I'd hate to go back now and like work it. I think that's like David Lloyd or something like that, which was shit. I got fired from that. Interesting story. But
why did you get fired?
One of the roles you have to do at David Lloyd is like take their pool tests. So like make sure the pool is operating properly. And as a coach, I went there in the morning. It's like 5 a.m. Just couldn't be fucked. So obviously didn't enjoy my job. And didn't do the test, and I just writ it off, and just obviously like put my signature next to it saying that I've done it. And like the manager hated me. Like I think she just had a problem with me. I don't know why. I'm probably a bit of a dickhead back then. But she caught me on camera doing it, and then just was like, oh, that's gross misconduct. You know, the pool could have been toxic or whatever. And then it was like, out you go. But that was literally the best thing that ever happened to me, because that's what got me into self-employment. So then from there, I had no clients, I had no income. I was still living away from home, so I wasn't back in my mum's basement. I was still living like in Portsmouth on my own. So that gave me like massive drive to be like, I actually need to make this work. So then I obviously grew my business face to face at Pure Gym, and then from there COVID hit, and then went online. So that's why I think it's important to like constantly be out of your comfort zone. Like that's, for me, that's one of the reasons why I moved to Dubai. Like I felt like I was too comfortable in the UK. Like I just had an easy life. It was a really simple life, and I just felt like that's what I wanted to break away from that, which is why I decided to come out here.
I'm exactly the same. I had everything everyone wanted, but then I blew it all up to then want to go to the fucking next level, because I think I had that burning feeling that I was going to regret if I didn't, and I'd rather regret making the decision than not making the decision.
That's exactly the same as me. Yeah, it was like almost like eating me up a little bit because I'd been out to Dubai a couple of times anyway, so I'd seen it, and yeah, like it was tough. Like I had a really good relationship with my ex. There was actually no issues. We weren't really arguing. It was a nice life. But yeah, it was the same. I just felt like, I mean, I was only like 26 at the time, so I felt like I needed to get away and just live life on my own. And it was, now looking back, it was obviously a good decision to make, but it's difficult. Like that was comfortable. It was easy. Like I could have continued. I had a very nice life, but I think I never would have got to where I am now in business because I've actually broken out of my comfort zone again. Like coming out to Dubai on my own, obviously I knew some people, but that definitely helped me level up as a person a lot. And that's what's helped me, I think, get to this level as well now, where I'm like constantly wanting to move forward.
Why do you think so many people shy away from those difficult decisions and they stay with like the vanilla life of like the norm?
It's a good question. I think like, I don't know, I think society's just softened a lot now, and I just think people just don't really know what they're capable of, and they're just happy with quite a comfortable, easy life. People just get like a job they don't really like, but it pays the bills. They get a girlfriend or a wife they don't really like, or like it's just easy. Yeah. I think a lot of people aren't happy in relationships and marriages and stuff. Like I'd say that's definitely a thing now. So I think it is just like maybe a lack of self-belief, and just maybe feeling like that's what they're destined to do. Like people just think, okay, this is my life, it's easy, I'll just carry on with it. Whereas I think deep down a lot of people aren't really happy. I think especially as men, like as a man, I feel like you have to have like a purpose, and I feel like you should be constantly wanting to improve and strive towards something. I don't think you can be happy just sort of coasting along. I think that for me, definitely, like I always want to be trying to improve, and having a purpose, especially with business and stuff, is what makes me fulfilled. Maybe not happy, but fulfilled.
I think there's a big difference between fulfillment and happiness as well. And I also don't think sometimes, this is a very weird thing to say, I don't think men necessarily need happiness.
100%. Yeah.
I think they need to be fulfilled.
Yeah.
Because if I'm fulfilled, I then almost end up happy.
100%. Yeah. I agree. Yeah. I'm quite a big fan of Andrew Tate. I don't mind saying it.
Yeah.
Saying on here, I think a lot of his content is really good. And that's one thing I know that he says, like men shouldn't be happy, or they don't need to be happy. Like when have men ever been happy? Like they fought in wars, they were killed in the Titanic, like it was women that were saved. So like I think, yeah, like essentially a man needs a purpose, and I don't necessarily think that you should be constantly trying to strive towards being happy. Like there's parts now where I'm happy. I think in business, like most of the time you're probably not happy. Like I say like 20% of the time
I'd probably say less now. I think like 90% of the time it's like, this isn't good enough, and then there's like the 10%. I always compare it to golf. It's like you hit like 3 shit shots and you hit one that's really fucking good, and it gives you the hope that then you'll be good at golf. But then like business is the same. You have like 10% of the time that's like sick, that's killing it. Yeah. And then you spend 90% of the time trying to get that feeling back. But then that 10% feeling gets further and further away because the business grows. So you're trying to get to a bigger goal constantly.
Exactly.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense. Yeah. I think like I'm certainly not ever like really fulfilled. Like I've had some like really good months on the mastermind, really good months. Like months I never would have thought I'd have been able to have done in such a short amount of time. And like, yeah, I've been happy at the time. I've gone out and, done something nice, or maybe like bought myself a watch or whatever. Like I've rewarded myself. And then maybe like a day or two later, I'm like, fuck, all right, okay, let's fucking go. Like I'm
the way I look at like in sales, you're only as good as the day before or the month before. So like, I've had months done 400-500K, and I'm like, that was really fucking sick. And then I'm like, we're back to fucking square zero again. So then like,
for sure.
The reset button's pressed.
Every single day, yeah. I think that like I just try and forget about what yesterday was like, and it's a new day, right? We need to like hustle, we need to do something. I think that's the mentality I think you have to have. And I didn't used to have that. I think I used to like fall back a lot on looking at. I think this is a thing sometimes as well why you say not doing monthly payments is actually not a good idea. Because like you can get really comfortable. Like you think, oh, okay, well I've still got like 20K coming this month from recurring payments and stuff. And whereas like you say, like when you do like paid in fulls, you are a lot hungrier for it as well. It's just one of the reasons why I'm trying to push both, but push mainly paid in fulls. Obviously, I'm coming down to monthly if I need to.
And I think people go for monthly. People who sell monthly coaching programs won't ever go that far because ultimately they're going to lose so many people who are going to drop off in the first 2-3 months anyway. The LTV is too short. They also aren't getting the money up front they can then put into the business to leverage to grow it quicker. And then you also going to end up with that complacency thing of like, good is good enough. Whereas like, I don't want to be fucking good, I want to be great. And the big thing I want everyone to be is great, because you don't know what great feels like until you get there. And it's the same thing for like anyone who's listening to this who's in really good shape. It's like when you're really fit, you're really strong, you're in good shape, and you're happy with how you look, and you see people who are unhealthy, you can't fucking walk up stairs. You're like,
Yeah.
how do you live like that?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think so. I remember like when the first time like I sold like a 12-month pain in full or something like that. Like it was just a really good feeling. I literally felt like I'm unstoppable at that point, and I think that's what business should be like in terms of like when you are selling programs. I think you need to try and get to that point. Whereas I think with monthly, you just get too comfortable, and we still do that. If someone wants to pay monthly, we'll do that. But I think that like it definitely gives you a lot more reason to want to grow as much as possible.
Well, it's better for the client's purpose because they're going to be actually more invested to. Like,
we've seen that 100%. Yeah. Like that's obviously like the easiest way that you can kind of you're doing it for them. Like it's actually better for them as well. I think like you said, like a lot of the time we've had clients that have been on the program for maybe like 2 or 3 months, and then they're just like they have a bad week, and then like they look at the payment and like, oh fuck it, I'm not going to pay that, or I'm just going to get out of it, and you can't really do anything, and then they don't get the result they came for. Whereas like if someone's committed, even if they go through like a bit of turmoil, like you can then they've got X amount of months left in the program they've paid, they know we can get them back on track. So it definitely gives them, for the client, I think a lot more benefit from the program too.
What's the biggest limiting belief about online coaching that's been broken for you?
I think just the level that you can get to. So like the business that you can have. I never thought. A lot of people do still see it as personal training, don't they? Like, oh, you're like
my dad still thinks
that. People ask me in Dubai, like, what'd you do? I'm on like, oh, personal trainer. No, not really, but yeah. So I think it's like realizing that the actual business you can create off this. I think that's the thing that you inspired me on the most, because obviously you've got a massive fitness business, and knowing that that's the kind of revenue numbers that you can get to, like that massively broke my belief around it. Like I don't think I ever really knew what the potential was. Like I'd obviously been on other masterminds and there was people doing relatively well, but now I'm like, fuck, like this, this is really infinite in terms of where I can get to. So that's what I think is broken the barrier for me. I don't think I'd ever stop in terms of where I'd like to get to with this.
It's interesting, and this is why it's so important for like the environment you surround yourself with. So I'll give a really good context. I remember going to, it was actually Vince Del Monte's mastermind in 2020, maybe in Tampa in Florida.
Yeah.
And I thought it was Billy Big Shot making like 25K a month or whatever it was at the time, maybe 30. And I remember meeting one of my best friends now, Frank Denblanken, who's doing the train next month. And he was making like $1 million or $2 million a month. I was like, what the fuck?
That's crazy.
And then I was like, my mind was perplexed. And then Frank became one of my best friends from that. And then, which is also the value of masterminds and events. And I then remember maybe like a year later speaking at Adam Haley's OTE event, and I was doing maybe 120K a month at the time. And I just thought that was normal. And I said it, and I remember people's fucking heads fell off. And I was like, well, you fucking like, looked at me like I was an alien. Yeah. And the reality is, like, you don't know what you don't know until you're exposed to it. You're like, holy fucking shit. I'll give a really good example. I met a guy, this is not fitness related. I met a guy in Miami who he makes $1.5 million a month. He works 4 hours a week, and his business expenses are $300K. He makes $1.2 million a month. He sells courses to black female nurses in the United States to pass their nursing exams or webinars.
That's mental.
I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So like when I have those experiences, which is why I travel a lot, I'm going to a mastermind next week in California, I meet people and it changes my perception of different lead gen strategies or what can be done. And that's what you're exposed to gives you your opportunity to then grow and like raise the ceiling, if that makes sense.
Definitely. I mean, that's like one of the biggest things I've got in this mastermind, because I see it as like it is an elite level mastermind with like some of the best coaches in the world. Like, so being part of this, I am a highly competitive person. Like I played a lot of sport. Like I want to be the best. So like for me to be part of an environment is to where like people are doing fucking well. Like there's like Aaliyah and stuff like that. Like she's doing fucking incredible. So that's like for me motivation too, to always want to be trying to improve. Whereas like, I think if you become like the best coach in your mastermind or whatever, fuck it, look at me, like I'm doing really good. Whereas this is like there's just levels to climb all the time. So for me, I'm like, I want to be the best essentially, or up there.
And anyone can do that if you're consistent and you take the right actions over time.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
One of the things I would say is I'm not naturally gifted. I'll give a good example. So Jack Goodger, you would know.
Yeah.
So me and Jack actually lived together when we were 18. He said to me on a call a while ago, maybe like 2 weeks ago, he was like, you remember when you were 18, you were really fucking unorganized and messy? And I was like, look back and I was like, yeah, it was fucking really bad. And he was like, look at you now, like you've got fucking color coded calendars, all this shit. And I was like, that's really, really interesting. And it shows how when you actually want to change, you put the time into it, you can change the way you act and behave.
You can,
to get the end result you want. And this is where people tell themselves a lie that I'm not organized, I'm not intelligent, I can't do X, Y, Z. And you telling yourself those lies is why you won't actually achieve what you ever want to achieve.
Yeah, it's so true. Yeah, I remember like when I used to, recently I think when I go back and see my parents and stuff, they literally said to me, they were like, wow, they almost like can't believe how far I've come. They're like, I can't really, you're just totally different now. Like you're not like you were like used to be and stuff. Like you've grown up so much and the knowledge that you've now got, and they're like really proud of me. They're really impressed with it all. But that's something that again is, I think you don't even notice it really. Like you just kind of like naturally adapt, don't you, and improve on things. Whereas like, it's for them, they're really proud to see that kind of thing too. So just naturally kind of leveling up. And I think that's why leveling up your environment is so important as well.
And I also think that that process of leveling up is going to make you very uncomfortable. Because I think you mentioned how your parents see you differently now. Yeah. I used to be, when I was first in, but maybe even probably up until like last 2 years, I was incredibly anxious and fucking stressed all the time, and was just like, my brain would go to worst case scenario all the time. Yeah. And I see this a lot in particular with men and women who we work with. But I can relate to that because I used to be like that, but now I understand how to control that. And also like, okay, my Instagram, this is a great example. So I was flying to the Maldives, first world problems, on Saturday morning at like 1 a.m. To take 4 days off to relax and chill. And in the taxi on the way to the airport, my Instagram account gets disabled. I'm like, for fuck's sake. And all our ads go down, everything. So I'm like, this is fucking ideal. So obviously like cortisol's up. And then, and this is the second time it's happened to me. And then we got to Maldives. I also then lost my girlfriend's bag. So I was like, this is fucking great. This is like great stuff.
That's the worst thing,
she didn't get that until the way back. And then...
fuck, so kind of ruined all
So I was like, this is just not going well at all. But I'm like, I'm like, this is already paid for. So I'm like, I'll get suntan and just do what I can. But the reality is, at the end, I got the account back and have someone who can get accounts back for people. But things are going to go wrong. But like, I thought it was interesting. I thought about it when I was there that when that happened to me 2 years ago, I was in the middle of getting divorced at the time, so I was more stressed and moving to Dubai. But this time I was less bothered than before because I'd already been through that once. I knew how to, I thought I was going to get the account back. And I'd also engineered my business that if this one thing fucks off, then I still have all this other stuff anyway. Which I think is an important thing for anyone. If you're anxious, what I do, I always like write down an action plan to deal with whatever the problem was.
So that's like, exactly what it is.
For me, it was like, set up another Instagram account. We'll do a giveaway on that page, get people to go and follow it. We'll move all the ads to the other Instagram accounts. We'll do X, Y, Z, like have an actual plan. Whereas I think most people, it's a bit like you said, when people are comfortable, they just wait for it to change. Like you don't wait for things to fix themselves, you try and fix themselves.
I agree. That's one task I'll always do as well. I remember working with TMP with Kieran and he said to me, like, as an exercise to relieve a lot of anxiety and stuff, is like, if you ever feel like that, just write down like Chris's plate, like is in like a spider diagram, and just write everything in your head, everything that is like causing you anxiety, you're stressed about, anything. It doesn't even have to just be business related. And then he said, once you've done that and you've just like brain dumped everything, then just like write action steps on every single one. Like, these are the 3 things that I need to do. And since doing that, I'll do that every now and then. Like when I just feel a little bit stressed, I write it down, I get all that in place, and then it's just ticking it off. Like you literally just, okay, like, this is what I need to do that. And you can only do worry about things you can control. So like for you, obviously the Instagram account, luckily you've got contacts and stuff, but like you haven't got access over Meta to get that account back. So you
call up Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah, exactly. So like that's the thing. Sometimes I think people sometimes like, it is what it is. Like if things happen, like you have to just try.
And that's why I plan for the worst. So like, I presume it's not coming back. What do I do going forwards?
Yeah, exactly. It's still my biggest fear. I am worried that's going to happen to me at some point, but I am more probably well-rounded for it now. Like, obviously got another Instagram account that's we are running ads off that, so that's doing pretty well. Other like lead generational platforms and stuff too. But yeah, it's always a bit of a fear as a business owner for that to go.
But I also think that's where 2 things solve all problems in life, and this is that was the perfect example, is money and people. Because I have money, I can pay the dude, and I know someone who can solve the problem. And that's almost the same thing in terms of growing your business. If you know someone who knows something you don't know, and you can pay them for their time to do it, then you then solve the problem, then you get to the next level you want.
That's so true.
That's basically been my life story of like, this is the problem I have now, I want to get to here, who's the person who can solve the problem?
Just throw money at stuff.
Yeah, and then sometimes it works. Like if you make good choices, it works, and then even the times it doesn't work, you learn. But the times it does work, it pays off so big that it wipes out anything else.
Yeah.
The challenge I now find is that the problems you're trying to solve are so complex that very few people have ever solved them.
Yeah, when you get to that level.
Yeah, which is a different game, which is then more of an interesting like Rubik's Cube to fix.
Yeah,
makes sense.
I guess it's just levels of business and stuff, isn't it? But I guess everyone in the mastermind, that's why it's so good that we can just reach out to you and your team and stuff. Like we do have issues, but that's what I'll often do. Like recently booked in a call with Jeremy and stuff like that, just having like a general chat. So like that's why I think it's you need a network of people around you, like a boardroom. I think TM I called it, Kieran called it. So that's important as well, because when shit does go wrong, like, you need to kind of know where to go to get these people to help you.
Like it's when shit hits the fan, you're like, what do I do in this fucking situation?
Yeah, for sure.
Because it's like the amount of times someone said like, I've got a big problem, I don't want to do Stripe, fucking Instagram, or employees doing X, Y, Z. I'm like, okay, this is really easy. Just do this and this.
Yeah.
Because like any problem anyone's ever seen, I've fucking had it.
Well, it's like recently as well. Like as an example, like, I remember I got that. I was actually on my way back to Dubai from Portsmouth, and I got that email, and it was like your ads account was going to get banned or something.
It was a spam.
It was retarded because I look at it now. I looked at the email. I was like, actually, no, that is stupid. But obviously, I was like, who can I message? Oh, Charlie will obviously know that. And then you told me straight away, obviously, at E straight away, I was relaxed. I was like, oh, it's bullshit. I know obviously my account was fine. So it's just stuff like that, like having people there that you can.
Yeah, it's peace of mind for a second opinion.
Yeah, for sure. Because I've never had that message before. I've never seen that come through, and sometimes these scams are a little bit legit. So you're always a little bit skeptical. So
I had one the other day that nearly got me for something. I can't remember what it was. Maybe it was like a DHL thing, but it's like...
Oh, I keep getting them.
Because I order a load of random shit and I forget, and then I'm like, oh, maybe it does need paying. So like the most important thing I think for people to do, the two big scams to watch out for now is Facebook Messenger chat. You get loads of stuff coming through.
I keep getting them.
Pretending
so
to be support.
Stupid. Yeah, your account's going to get shut down.
Yeah, just don't click the link.
Yeah.
But that's the most important thing to avoid. And this is also where like people have to look at business as like a long-term game of like...
Yeah.
How can I not fuck this thing up and stay in business?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think you've always got to be careful with stuff, and people like to get you. We live in quite an untrustworthy world now. I think it's just you're always going to get issues. Like obviously I talked to you about my car before this. It's just shit like that. Like me. It's just annoying.
So for context, what's happened? This is interesting.
So basically, I bought a car out here in Dubai, and it's actually quite a good car as well. It's an Audi, and
if anyone wants to buy it,
if anyone wants to buy it, they might not want to in 10 seconds.
Yeah.
But yeah, essentially. Trying to sell it because I'm not using it at the moment. It's just not worthwhile. I'd actually rather take the money out and put it into crypto or something like that, or just take the money out and use it better. But essentially, I can't sell it because the mileage was changed before I bought it, which I didn't realize, and now the mileage is fake. So obviously, like people want to know what the mileage is, know whether the car's worth buying. So trying to sort that out and figure out who can help me. But a lot of the services out here are a little bit useless. So bit of an issue, bit of a problem. I spent 6 hours yesterday trying to sort it, which is a complete waste of time. I had to cancel a few calls and stuff, but it's just life, innit? I've got to ground myself, think, what can I do? Let's just see if we can help.
It's also perspective of the problems. I often think a lot of the times, like, the problems you have today, the problems you wish you had 5 years ago, right?
Exactly, yeah, 100%.
Like, I'm in the Maldives, my Instagram account's been disabled. I'm not fucking like...
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. Like, when I think back, I'm like, well, okay, like, you know, life is pretty good right now. All right, it's a little bit annoying that I can't sell my car and stuff, but it's a small problem really when you think of it. I don't think money can solve this one though. I was thinking about that. Who can I throw money at that can fucking solve my car?
I think I might know someone who might know someone.
Maybe. Okay.
I'll
might be a contact. That would be the easy way to, because that's the thing. Like when you get to wanting to grow a business, like it's your time is so precious, and that's what like is fucked me off the most because. You know, I wasted 6 hours yesterday, really annoying. I wasted 3 hours this morning, really annoying. You're thinking about it all the time, and like you just want to get all this shit off your plate, and like that's why I think if you can find a solution, even if it is financial, that is you're just worth doing it. Like I hate problems.
100%.
Yeah.
And you're stress-free life.
Yeah.
To wrap things up, what would be your one piece of advice for an online coach who's stagnant in their business or wants to make a start and going online? Like bear in mind what you've done over the last year or two.
100% would be to just move forward and get online. I think get help with someone like yourself as well. I think that's the most important thing. Like in terms of investing in yourself, like that is how you get to the next level. Which is just stagnant. And I think to like make it more in context to myself, like we've spoken about, it's not just yourself that, you know, life is going to change. Okay. Like you're going to change like your lives of your family. You're going to change the lives of obviously like more people as well. So it's just having the courage to make sure that you find the right people to help you. It's obviously, you know, people like yourself and stuff that have been there, done that, seen what you need to see, and you can save yourself years, so much time in terms of making the mistakes that maybe they've made before. So that's why I think, like find someone to help and just trust and listen to that one voice, and just don't get complacent and never kind of settle as well. I think that like we mentioned, I was stuck probably at an income bracket for quite a long time that was relatively good, and I had a good life, but like you should never just settle for like being okay. Like now it's like striving for better and better and better, and like being around people like yourself, being in Dubai, like being part of a mastermind where there's loads of people that are really successful, that just constantly steers you to want to keep improving. So I think you just need to be relentless and like constantly want to be leveling up as an individual.
I 100% agree. I think it's good is the enemy of great, and people need to just like go for greatness rather than just being average.
Yeah, 100%. Same with your physique as well. Like we work with a lot of guys that are in relatively good shape at the start, and then they get in like fucking awesome shape. So it's the same thing. Like you should just never settle, and I always want to be moving forward and like reach full potential. Because if you don't, then it's just, I imagine looking at your life thinking what you could have achieved.
100%.
Yeah.
Big thank you for your time today, Chris.
Ain't no worries at all. It's been a pleasure.
Anyone who's an online coach looking to scale their business, if you want help to have the same success like Chris has had, and all the other people in the 7-Figure Scaling Systems Mastermind, hit the link below this video and you can book in a free call to find out how we can help you. If you enjoyed, take some inspiration from Chris's journey, how it's changed his life, his brother's life, make sure you smash the like button, comment below any questions, and subscribe, and see you next podcast very soon. Awesome, dude. That's really, really good.
Cheers, Shai.